in this hour here on Monday. I'm Paula Sands. Welcome to Paula Sands Live. Some fun we're going to have today. As usual, right? Wait till you see what's in our kitchen. That's in our second half hour. It's not food. It's crazy stuff. If you grew up in the 50s and 60s, you're going to love this stuff. How about making friends in all 50 states? Imagine traveling to every state, and in each state you make friends with someone either you've never met before or someone from your very distant past. Well, that's what Sherry Lead is doing. Iowa is her 41st state in the 50 States Project. And Sherry's here today to share this. She's just coming off an appearance on the Today Show, for heaven's sake. I'm sorry, I can't equal that, Sherry.
Oh, no, you do.
Oh, stop. But welcome.
Thank you. My first time to Iowa, and is everyone friendly here? Because
yes.
I've been here for a few days.
Yes, we're a very warm people. We're a warm and welcoming people.
Yes, give Southern hospitality a run for its money. Seriously, the friendliest, I shouldn't say this for the other 40 states, but the friendliest place I've been to.
You say that to all the states.
No.
You must. You must. Okay. Tell me, what is this about? How in the world did you come with, I know you're a friendship expert. How did you come up with the idea of every state making a different friend?
Well, I've never traveled the U.S., and so now I want to do it now. I'm in my 50s, so if I'm going to do it, I want to do it now because it's kind of hard lugging that luggage around. And I decided, well, what's going to make it meaningful for me? I could see monuments, but that didn't feel right. And people make places meaningful. So I had this idea, how about if I met either a complete stranger or somebody that I may have met once or twice in my life before, but never had a chance to sit down and get to know.
How many of so you've done 41 states so far, and we're looking at video of you just meeting up with people. Yeah. And as you found the ones maybe you've known from the past, how many of those do you have?
That may have been 10 at most. So the woman in Iowa, I met her 30 years ago. She gave me by training I'm a lawyer, and she gave me a tour of the law school right before I started, but she was 2 years ahead of me, so we never got to know each other until we shared a meal in Davenport the other night.
So as you've been traveling around for how long now, Sherry, for this state-by-state tour?
Since January.
Since January. And you do how many a month then?
It just depends, but if everything goes on schedule, I should end up at the end of September. The last weekend in September, I should be done in Omaha.
Have you done Hawaii and Alaska?
I did, and I got the warm weather places like Hawaii out first because you don't want to see me drive in the snow.
No, okay, good idea. But as we're looking at all these meet and greets here, how did you find these people? How did you pick one woman in each state? How?
Well, so for the first 27, I got on my own, and it could have been someone like, for instance, my web designer. She lives in Indiana. Never met her, never talked about our lives. She was one of those. So there are many women that way that I connected with, then reached out to my friends and said, hey, who do you have? And then I ended up with 13 states where I had no one. So I actually went to the internet and I decided, well, maybe if I look for women who have businesses or something, so I knew they would be there. And I sent emails and basically sent kind of all my information except my social security number, so they knew I wasn't crazy.
Well, they might think that it's a little odd, right? And like there's maybe a catch. Like, what do you mean you want to meet up with me and we'll have a meaningful conversation? Because I know you're trying to be intentional about this. It's not just, oh, we're going to have coffee and then bye-bye.
Yeah.
How are you doing that?
Yeah, so it's easier now that I've been talking to people. Like you're giving me a little bit of credibility, a lot of credibility here. But initially, when I did not have the background of other meetings, there were a few like, oh, I'm not so sure. And they shared that with me. In fact, the woman in Albuquerque, the city I started with, we were absolute strangers, and she was nervous and not sure she should do this, but she did, and we're texting regularly. I mean, we're friends.
How do you have? I go back to that meaningful conversation that you wanted to have with people. How do you find that? I mean, what do you say to people that will make it something that it is deep? Yeah,
well, it's so surprising. This is what surprised me, and I think the woman I met in Virginia said it the best. She said, "We find what we're looking for." And so I'm going into these conversations, and they're not interviews. We're sharing a meal, thinking this is a friend. This is someone I'm really excited to get to know. And I feel that energy. They're feeling it back too. And I'm so surprised how we get to these conversations without effort. And when we're leaving, we're hugging, we're still texting. In fact, I have to share with you, right before I came, and I'll share it quick, I came here when I was in the parking lot, I received a text from a woman I shared a meal with, and we were together for 2.5 hours. Her husband was on hospice. She had just put her husband on hospice, but she thought it was important to sit down with me. She texted me right before I came in saying that her husband passed away. She wanted me to know because I was part of the journey. And this is a woman I just met for 2.5 hours. And
wow, Sherry.
Yeah. And
that seems God appointed, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we connected, and we had such an amazing conversation there, and we're still texting.
Well, I think what you're doing, the 50 States Project, is most unique thing I've ever heard of. Hey, just real quick, have you met anybody where you're like, okay, that was enough of them? I'm not. There won't be a repeat of that meeting, ever?
There hasn't been. There are definitely people that I connect with more immediately. Like, wow, are you sure we haven't, met before? But there's been no one where I've gone, oh, I need to get out of this state quickly.
Right? Get me out of here.
No,
well, I'm sure you're going to be writing about this and speaking about it more. So your website is, where would be a good resource for us to find you then?
So my business name is a mouthful. It's An Imperfectly Perfect Life, or just look up Sherry Lead, and you can follow on Instagram. It's a place where I post a lot of these trips.
Well, she's a friendship expert, folks, and who knows, if you get an email from her, you're thinking, who is, oh, I know, I saw her on PSL and she was to meet up with me. You could continue this, and this could be a thing for others.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so.
Thanks, Sherry. Making friends in all 50 states.
Yes.
Bless your heart. Good seeing you. Thank you.
Good seeing you too.
Thank you, Sherry. When we come back.